Hey everybody. I wanted to chat about this episode and before I post it, so I wanted to thank you all first for all the support. And beforehand, if you wouldn't mind tapping that screen, pressing that thumbs up button, or pressing up on your remote and hitting that like button, I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe, please. So this episode, we had an encounter with some sharks, and I wanted to kind of get on and describe it a little bit. So it was after my buddy and I both had shot fish. We had some bull sharks show up. My mom isn't gonna like this video, but I wanted to just say that I don't want this to be some kind of sharks are bad kind of debate or whatever. We're in their territory, shooting fish that they normally eat, and this isn't meant to be like a us versus them. This is, I don't know, we shot fish. 2 bull sharks showed up. They kind of challenged us a little bit, but everything turned out all right. So if not for some quick thinking on my buddy's part. So I wanted to thank you all for joining me on this episode, and I hope you have a good time because it was a great dive from start to finish. So cheers.
Hang on, look at me. Yes.
Yo, what's up, nerds? Sorry, I know that was weird. How's it going, everybody? This is a really cool dive, literally from start to finish. As you can see, as soon as we got in the water, we had this cool loggerhead sea turtle just munching on stuff on the side of the rig. Not sure what it was doing, but it was just, as soon as we got in the water, we saw this thing, and I was super excited. And of course it tries to squeeze itself through the pillars, but it managed. And sorry I'm looking around so much. Instead of looking at the turtle, I was making sure that my buddy wasn't going down already without me. You never want to be that buddy that gets distracted by a fish or something cool looking and then just wanders off and then isn't a buddy at all, really. Always know where your buddy is. Always. As you can see, we're diving on oil rigs today. We went out of Dulac, Louisiana today. It was a really just pretty day. Beautiful visibility the entire day, and it was less than 1 foot seas for most of the day, except for a little bit later in the afternoon, but yeah, it was just honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better day. And I got my personal best scamp grouper this day. It was a really epic dive, and it was a really epic kind of like cat and mouse game that I had to play with this grouper, and I am devastated that I didn't get it on camera for you all. So I'll just flash up a little picture with me and my grouper. amberjack, always trying to steal the show. You can just see all the life that these oil platforms bring. These oil platforms allow for pretty cool, not only pretty cool spots to dive, but they allow for fish that you normally wouldn't see in this area to be in this area. Reef fish like this Spanish hogfish right here swimming by, or any of these spadefish. You got French angelfish, queen angelfish, all these different kinds of really reef associated fish that definitely normally wouldn't be in this area, and definitely wouldn't normally be up in the water column like this without this structure for them to hide behind. I was obsessed with this nurse shark. Honestly, I'm pretty obsessed with all nurse sharks. As much as I've done with sharks, and as many sharks that I've like encountered and swam with, whatever, blah blah blah. But nurse sharks are still just like one of my favorite, and they're just like giant puppy dogs. Honestly, I don't know what it is about them, but I just love them. And I was genuinely surprised when I saw it up here around the platform. You don't really usually see them around the platforms, so it was a bit of a treat. And I'm checking out some of these scamps. Some of them were kind of on the smaller side. Not that they were illegal, but we had seen so many scamps this day that we were kind of allowed to be picky. And I see these red snapper off to my left, and I was really hoping for some bigger scamp grouper on this dive, but you know, if they're gonna hang around, red snapper are pretty good eating too. Try to spot the biggest one and plug it. Not actually a super great shot, but luckily I was rocking a slip tip today, so the tip kind of pulls off of the shaft, and it kind of creates like a stopping barrier on the other side of the fish so that the fish can't slip off the shaft or get off as easily. And you saw the fish just absolutely disappear into the murk, but that's where the red snapper like to sit, kind of right on the edge there. And that's where a lot of the bigger fish like to sit. They kind of poke their heads in and out of that murk layer and use it to their advantage. So always on the lookout for sharks. I spot these couple of black tip sharks just hanging out around the structure while I was fighting this fish, so I'm just telling my buddy, hey, there's sharks over there, just keep an eye out. Came over and was looking out for me for a little bit. always try and brain my fish, but man, these big red snapper have some thick skulls. I saw this really nice cobia, and that was me really trying to get my buddy's attention. I think he had actually reloaded his gun at this point, so if he had saw it, he could have turned around and shot it, but he didn't hear me, unfortunately, so cobia got away. But when I start to reel up the rest of my shaft, look what comes after it. This beefy bull shark. And there's the black tip behind it. Still just cruising around, but that bull shark, it was very aware of us and what we had. And she wasn't very long, but she was chunky, like most bull sharks are. So pretty much the rule of thumb, if you start being harassed or sized up by a shark, is don't turn your back. So that's what me and my buddy are doing here. We're keeping our backs to the rig and making sure to keep eyes on the shark at all times. The only really bad thing at this point right now is that we're also coming up to the surface a little bit, and between 60 to 80 feet, the current was pulling us pretty bad away from the rig. So as you can see, I turned back and I'm a lot further away from the rig than I want to be. And the rig, similar to a fish when it comes to sharks, is shelter. And then another one shows up. Luckily, they're still kind of keeping their distance. So we're actually able to complete our safety stop. So that's what you'll see me skip ahead here. So then Big Chonky comes back, but we're not sure where the other one is. There's the second one. So at this point you can see that they are very aware of us and very aware that we have what they want. So my buddy and I are just doing what you're supposed to. Keep your spear pointed towards them just in case they come in, and always maintaining eye contact. I know I said this in my last episode, but most sharks are ambush predators, so they'll come in if you're not looking. But if you keep looking at them, it doesn't necessarily give them an opportunity to ambush you. So at this point, I'm taking my stringer off of my hip. If the shark decides to come for the fish, then I can just let go of the stringer and don't have to worry about it pulling me down with it or anything like that. I can just push the stringer in its mouth and let go. I also had the fish kind of hanging up by my head, and I figured that was probably a bad idea. So I was pushing it away from my head and then just decided to take the stringer off. Luckily, my buddy Doug was also wearing a GoPro on his head, and his GoPro sits right on his mask. So mine does not. Mine sits up on my head, which is why you're kind of getting this annoying out of water, in water, out of water, in water. So we're gonna switch cameras. Now you can see my point of view in the bottom left and watch the shark make a really aggressive move towards my buddy here. So as we rewatch this in slow motion, I want you to look at something for me. Sharks have tells when they're about to become more aggressive. Their pectoral fins, or the fins on the side of their bodies, start to angle downwards more. And you can see both of these sharks displaying this behavior kind of on and off as they're sort of inching closer and closer towards us. Another sign of aggression is swimming head on towards you. A lot of sharks are just really curious, so they'll come up and just kind of side on, look at you with one eye and just check you out and see what's up and what you're doing and what you are, frankly. Not these sharks. They were essentially sort of challenging us for our fish. That's how I took it anyway. I'm not a shark therapist, but I do have a lot of experience with sharks, and this is sort of what it looked like to me. And the boat was on the other side of the rig from us. And obviously we were sort of pinned in a way that we had to keep our eye on the sharks. So we weren't allowed to move much or go back to the boat. It was kind of like a bit of a standoff. So this is an example of what I was talking about earlier. On the image on the right, the one that's coming right at Doug right now, you can see the pectoral fins are angled downwards versus the image on the left where they're more horizontal. And then finally, I wanted to talk about what my buddy did. Honestly, quick thinking, the sharks were getting a little bit more bold each time they made a pass. So you see my buddy here take off his slip tip. So essentially that means that he can shoot the shark, but the shaft isn't going to get stuck in the shark's skin. So he's not going to lose he would have lost his gun. The shaft pulls out of his skin, and they got the message. And after he shoots it, they hang out at about 30 feet below us. We could still see them, but they were no longer challenging us for our fish. And we were able to make it back to the boat safely.